G'day everyone, the Asian Dad here. We're going to do the review of this Lenovo X1 Carbon 7th generation. It's finally in my hands and I've had a little bit of time with it to have a play with it, and I'm going to go through a bit of it. Now I do have the 6th generation as well, and I used it a fair bit and I enjoyed it a lot. And you'll probably see some of the videos. I'll put in a link in the description below for the 6th generation if you want to catch up with that. But this is the 7th generation. Now they've made some minor changes, and I think these minor changes are really dramatic because I find them actually made it even better than what it was before. So let's go through with it. So this is a 14-inch ultra lightweight laptop. It is designed for more of a commercial range, so it is quite rugged, and you can quite easily use this for personal use as well. Now this houses our 8th generation Intel processors there. Now you can get an i5 or i7 version of this notebook, and they are running 4 cores there. Again, you can configure it up to 16 gigs of RAM. Now that is soldered to the main board, and so you do need to make sure that you get the correct one when you first purchase it, because you can't upgrade it later. And again, you can go up to 1 terabyte of SSD hard drive. Now that uses the M.2 slot, so you can actually upgrade that later on if you want to. And again, it is using Intel integrated graphics, so you can't get a discrete graphics option with this. So there's a few screen options for the 7th generation, and they all are running IPS, and they all have the matte look type of display. It is all anti-glare. Now the first option is a low power mode version. Now that one doesn't have any touch, and it does run at 400 nits of brightness. Now the second version is a touchscreen version, and that one is a full HD as well, and that runs at 300 nits of brightness. And there is a WQHD version, and that one there does run at 300 nits as well, but that has no touch. Now this X1 Carbon version is a touchscreen, and it feels gorgeous to actually put your fingers over it. It glides so smoothly as well too. I've had comments in my previous videos that I actually don't touch the touchscreen laptops that I review, and unfortunately it's just a bad habit I've got from years of training from Apple, because they don't actually have touchscreens on the MacBooks. So here I am touching this touchscreen for you guys anyway. So it is a touchscreen, and this one's beautiful to use. So let's have a look at the ports here. So on the right hand side we've got the power button. Now this is a new location for the power button. It used to be above the keyboard. We've got a USB 3.1. Now this is a power always on, which means you can actually charge a phone or other devices even with the laptop being turned off. We've got the exhaust fan, and we've got the security lock port there. And along the back here, this one has nothing, but you can opt in for a eSIM to put in there. So having a look on the left hand side, we've got 2 Thunderbolt ports. Now these Thunderbolt ports are 4 lanes, so you can connect a nice good eGPU if you wanted to. And then we've got the Ethernet dongle, which is Lenovo's one, and that's this little doobie here for RJ45, and it has a very interesting connection, which pretty much you just connect to here, and that's about it. So they also have a dock which uses both of these together, and it's a clamping style there. And then we've got a USB 3.1, HDMI port, audio combo jack, and nothing else on here. Now looking at the front here, it's pretty clean, and that means that it's sad to see that it no longer has the micro SD card reader there. It'd be nice if they brought that back, because it's nice to actually upgrade some of the storage of this computer, even if it's slow storage, but so you can actually offload some data over there. Lenovo put a 720 webcam in the X1 Carbon. Now I do kind of wish that they put a 1080p webcam. We are in 2019, so I'm kind of surprised that they haven't actually moved this upwards. But hey, anyway, they have got a nice privacy shutter, and they've done it through most of their range, and it's just a matter of a little flick of a switch here, and you will see that it will go red, and that basically means there's actually physically a shutter over there, so you can't accidentally turn it on or someone's spying on you, so you don't need electrical tape or blue tack. Always love that function. As for the keyboard for the 7th generation, it's your typical Lenovo keyboard. They're fantastic keyboards in a way, but they have changed a little bit of the key travel. It's a little bit shallower than before, but really, I don't really feel much of it. I still love the feel of it. It's very rugged and it's got a very nice key travel with it as well too. And you kind of really do fall in love with these keyboards, Lenovo keyboards. If you're new to Lenovo keyboards, they do have this little quirkiness about them, and that is they've actually put the function key on the very left hand side where normally you have your control key. Now I have created a video on how to actually swap these two keys around. You can do it in BIOS, and I'll put it in the link in the description below so you can check that out. And if you can also change the keys around in the software, so you just download the Lenovo key software and you can swap those around as well. So if you didn't know about that, put a comment below. I'd love to hear from you if you actually like this sort of way of style, but for me it's quite annoying, so I always change it around. Now they also have the Trackpoint, which is this little red dot in the middle, and that is of course to control the cursor. It's an old style thing and it's really more for touch typists back in the days, but I don't see much these people use it these days, but I know it as the G spot for me, or the keyboard nipple. And of course below the spacebar you've got the free buttons for the mouses. And as for the trackpad, it is quite smooth. I kind of like it. It's not massive, but it's enough to what you do, and it does very well style there. And it is mechanical, so you can essentially press it down. And located next to the trackpad is the optional fingerprint reader if you wish to have so. As for the weight of this X1 Carbon, that is one of the highlights of this laptop. It is 1.03 kilograms, so it's amazingly light. And you wouldn't even know it's a 14-inch, so it beats a lot of 14-inch laptops out there. As for the feel of the laptop, it still feels like the 6th generation. It's got that sort of matte sort of type of feel plastic. It is quite nice, it's quite rugged, but it is extremely easy to get fingerprints on it, and very oily. Even if you wash your hands, it just comes. And just like your stainless steel fridges, they're just like a fingerprint black hole. They just love taking it in and just smudges everywhere. So trying to keep this clean is extreme. If you're one of those people who like to keep this clean, maybe look for a cover for it or something like that. But this thing is just going to grab all your fingerprints all the time, right? So you just kind of ignore it all the time anyway. The X1 Carbon does come with a 65 watt power supply, and it is quite small, which means it's very portable. And it does support rapid charge, which means it can charge the battery up to 80% in 1 hour's time. X1 Carbon houses a 4-cell battery. Now, it is rated to be just above 18 hours, but when I did my testing and I put everything in power saving mode, I only managed to get 6.5 hours. So I don't know where they kind of get all these, pushing these sort of type of times, but that's kind of what I got, was 6.5 hours just doing usage and stuff like that, and putting the screen brightness pretty low. And when I did the screen brightness up to 50%, and I pretty much maxed it out with CPU usage at performance level, I only managed to get 2 hours 20 minutes out of the battery. So I think it does extremely well when it's in performance mode. It does very well there. So the realistic battery life of the X1 Carbon 7th generation, I think is anywhere between 2 hours 20 to 6.5 hours. So as for sound wise, they've made a massive improvement on this since the 6th generation. So now it actually houses 4 speakers. So you got 2 above the keyboard and you got 2 underneath the computer itself. When I tested out the sound level of the speakers, it managed to peak at 90 decibels. So it's quite loud, but what's improved was the quality of the sound. It has a very nice sort of surround sound feel to it. It's got a little bit more bassy as well too than before, and at the top end it doesn't sort of distort as much now. So the quality of the sound of this laptop, I think, is actually extremely well. It's probably one of the better ones of the laptops that I've actually reviewed before. See how far the lid can bend back. The previous generation was 180 degrees, and the 7th generation, again, same as well, 180 degrees. So let's have a look how easy it is to lift the lid up with one finger. We've been told this has been improved a lot since the 6th generation, and yes, it has. It's a lot easier to open up. It's still got a bit of friction there, so it's not easy completely straight away, but it's got a very nice even friction, so I like it. Very good. So when I did the performance and stress test of this computer, I did take note of the temperature and how loud this computer was. So I actually, after about 2 hours of the computer running at 100%, I pretty much found most of the heat was around where the Y and K key was. So that kind of group of keys where the actual most heat was, and of course where the exhaust fan as well too, which is located on the right hand side of the computer. But you probably won't touch that area, and it's mostly where the keyboard is where you're more worried about. So my method was I just used a food thermometer. That's kind of all I got, and I pretty much put it where those group of keys was. And I downloaded a decibel app on my mobile phone to measure the sound levels of the computer. So after 2 hours with the computer running at 100%, I took a measurement and it measured at 41.2 degrees Celsius and 51 decibels, around about 15 centimeters away from the fan. And the ambient temperature was about 18 degrees Celsius. Now with the CPU running at 30 to 70%, so that's around about average to above average amount of use of the computer. The measurement came at 38.4 degrees Celsius and again 51 decibels. Now with the CPU running at 5 to 15%, which is low to average amount of use, which is pretty much web surfing and streaming. And the measurement came at 34.3 degrees Celsius with 46 decibels. So it's actually a very quiet computer. And the keyboard is extremely touchable as well, so it's very usable. So with the 7th generation, they have improved on the thermals for this computer. So it's a fantastic job of Lenovo. And I also noticed, compared to the 6th generation, the fan noise level is a lot less whinier, so it's a little bit more deeper in sound, which is actually quite good. So it's actually not as bad as before. I actually like what they've done with it. And now we're color calibrating the screen with the Spider 3 Pro. Now I've had this Spider 3 Pro for a number of years. It's been pretty trustworthy. Fortunately, I haven't got the funds to upgrade. Maybe later on I will. Now the screen is color calibrated with the Spider 3 Pro. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of factory. And this is after calibration, before calibration, after calibration. As you can see, coming out of factory, it's a little bit more, got a green tinge to it, and it's a little bit more warmer. And after calibration, it is cooled down a little bit, and it's got a little bit more magenta into it, only very slightly. So it's actually doing pretty good coming out of factory. If this was useful to you, put it in a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and give it a like as well to help support me as well. Now, as for the warranty wise, with Lenovo, you can get up to extended warranties of up to 5 years. So you can go in between 3 to 5 years, and I do suggest to look at the extra extended warranties, because that means you're guaranteed to have a computer. If you buy 3 years, then you're guaranteed to have a computer for 3 years. So you don't need to purchase a new computer after 3 years. So you are going to have a computer then. So it's worth putting the extra little bit of dosh into the extended warranties. Now I do suggest to have a look at the on-site warranties for Lenovo. And what that means is you save time and petrol, more importantly, on trying to get the computer fixed. Now I've had comments about on-site techs being outsourced. Now that's pretty much every major brand would have to do that. That's only just because it's the most feasible way to cover as much global demographic they can for each major city, because having to employ in-house techs to do on-site for every major city is extremely hard and very, very expensive. But with the on-site warranties, it just means that they will eventually fix your computer, and you don't have to waste your time and petrol going to and back to the repair center. So that saves you a lot. So do look into on-site warranties. Now I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about on-site warranties, or even just extended warranties. So put a comment below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about that. Now if you find the video informative or enjoyed it, give it a like, and if you haven't done it already, subscribe to the channel by hitting that subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner. I do try to upload a new video every Tuesdays and Fridays. And just remember, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. I'll see you next video.